Hey, how are you doing? This is Mark Epp over at campgroundviews.com, and this is our webinar on how to design your website to draw more guests into your campground. And you should be able to see my screen here, and we'll go ahead and get right into it. I have a list of questions already to start out with. But the main point of this webinar is to provide you, a park operator, with information on how to design your website and how to make sure that your website has the right information on it. So what we've got up on the screen is Tween the Lakes Campground outside of Paducah, Kentucky, specifically in Grand Rivers, Kentucky. We just rolled this website out recently, and it's a perfect example of how to do a website right. So one of the first questions we'll always get is, what software should I use to build my website on? And the answer to that is one that works and one that you know how to use. Really, there's no right or wrong solution here, just as long as you're able to edit it going forward, able to manage it, it's secure, and gets the job done. In this case, and in most cases, we design sites for parks utilizing WordPress. And there's some specific reasons why we do that. The most specific reason why is because WordPress is the most widely used content management system on the planet. Millions of websites are run by WordPress. So what that means for our clients is that they don't need to worry about future updates. They don't need to worry about fixing the site, and they don't even need to worry about managing it. If they have any questions, they can simply go to Google and type in how to update my page on WordPress, and they'll find millions of results on how to do it. Or if they need somebody to fix it and they can't reach us, whatever, something changes, they're able to find somebody to do it. So this site's built with WordPress. And it's a really good example of a very clean website. And one of the things you'll notice right off the bat is that we have the logo and the menu right at the very top and right on the center of the screen. And the reason that is, and this is the most important thing you need to consider when building your website for your RV park or campground, is that people aren't viewing it on a computer screen like we are. Instead, a vast majority of your visitors are viewing it on a mobile device. So I've just emulated a Galaxy S5. We'll emulate, let's say, an iPhone 7, 8, or plus. This is what they're going to see when they come to your website. A vast majority, about 70% of all visitors right now to RV park and campground websites are viewing it and accessing it on a mobile device. So you'll notice the content stacks up. This is what is called a responsive website, meaning it resizes depending on the screen size. If you notice, I'm changing the screen size. So this would be an iPad. This is how it would look on an iPad. A regular iPad, that's an iPad Pro. All these different features. If you want to know how I got to this functionality, what I did if you weren't watching is, and let me go ahead and close this. So I close this. So if you're on, this is Google Chrome browser, you simply right click on it and click inspect. This gets you into the inspection screen, which has a whole bunch of tools that developers will use. We utilize it to make sure everything's working right. And then you click this little button here, and it gives you the ability to toggle different types of devices. In this case, I've toggled it to a cell phone view, and I can pick a device. So iPhone 6, we'll go ahead and test it in there. And what you're seeing is how the website will look on a mobile device. And if you notice, you compare that to the desktop, it's a squished up version where everything stacks. So this content element will be above this content element, which will be above this content element. That's called responsive, and it is the most vital thing you need to do when designing or implementing a website, is ask that question. Is my site responsive? How will it look on a mobile device? And so in this case, the content all stacks up, the information's there. The phone numbers are hot links, so if a user's on a mobile phone and they clicked on that phone number, it would pop up and add it into their phone book so they can immediately call. You'll notice the content stacked up. We have clear text, large text, really easy to read. If you're on a mobile phone, you can easily read this without pinching to zoom it up. And your audiences are going to generally be an older audience, so the bigger you make the text, the better you make their lives. And we've got all this content stacking up on their website. And a key feature we've designed into this site, and something to be very aware of, is we have all of the pertinent details they would need to make a decision on the homepage. So most important is a phone number. That's front and center. Next, we talk about the pull-through sites. We actually show the sites with a very clean picture showing the sites. This isn't people playing, and now if your park's about that, you could do that, but in this case, it's not about that. This park is about an overnight stop for people traveling down the interstate. We show the sites, very clean image. And I mean, if you're traveling overnight, you're looking for an easy spot to get in and out of, there you go. We could pull right in, park, there's a little patio, picnic table, beautiful. We make it very clear that it's big rig friendly. We give a clear route for making reservations. In this case, there will be online reservations, so there'll be a book now button. We're finalizing that setup right now. But we've got the clear call button to make a reservation. We also will instruct them that they can text. In this case, the owner is willing to receive text messages for folks. And they recently purchased the park and are just now bringing it back up. So they do have sites available every night. So we've made it very clear, somebody who's driving down the interstate to pull up the site, trying to find a place tonight, we make it very clear that there are sites available tonight. They can come in and book. We put a link to their Facebook page for messaging. And most important, on the home page are the rates. So we've got, let me reiterate that. We've got the first and foremost is a phone number. Let them contact us. Next, we have a photo of the sites and a description of what they are. We make sure that it's clear that it's big rig friendly. We give them a clear path to reserve. We tell them we have sites available tonight, and we give them the rates. Now we give some other details on the site too. We reiterate concrete sites. We reiterate full hookups. We reiterate that it's big rig friendly, and then highlight some of the features they're going to be adding in the spring, some safe and friendly, and then close to lakes and area. And then, very important, we have a map of the location. This is a Google map. If they were to click on this, it would give them route directions. They can zoom out and see exactly where the park is. We have some more marketing message in here. And then a very key factor, this should be on every single page, the address and GPS coordinates. GPS coordinates are actually vital for you. If you don't currently have it on your website, make sure you get it. GPS coordinates are easier to enter on a GPS device than an address, because some GPS devices, this is especially true for a lot of parks that are on county roads, US highways and the such, where the address may be north, south, east, west. Sometimes GPS devices can't really handle that very well and will route people incorrectly. Whereas if you give them the exact GPS coordinates, that at least pinpoint them at the right spot. Now, if it routes them incorrectly, that's a different issue. And then we have the phone number, email, and then Facebook again. So this is the homepage of the website. And if you're doing a website design, again, you want to do a mobile device, you want to make sure you've got it and that it's fully responsive. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce back over to the desktop view so that we can talk about the next most important aspect of your website for a campground or RV park. So as I've already gone through the key elements you need on your homepage, the other, and this is a vitally important thing, and this is what we've created a lot of effect for parks for, is your menu structure. Now, oh, there's a question. Okay, so the question is choice of photos on the homepage. So when you're picking photos for the homepage, the first thing you need to ask is who are your guests? You know, what are they doing? What are they looking for? In this example, these are folks, a lot of their guests are going to be one of two things, either long-term stays, you'll notice they got some long-term sites, or overnighters. And they want to switch into more of an overnight role. And so the photo is very clear that if you're coming in, this is going to be easy to access. You can see there's not a lot of big trees, sites are angled. So as an RVer, you're looking at this picture saying, we can stay there. That's easy. That's a great spot. And so all these photos are directed at that. Now, that being said, if you're a family destination looking for seasonal campers, this main image may be a drone view of your lake with your water features, or it may be a picture of your pool area or your water park, or people having fun. So your imagery is going to depend a lot upon who you're trying to reach and who you're trying to draw in. In this case, we're trying to draw in people for overnight stays, so the imagery is very clear, communicating that you can stay here. So very good question. So your imagery actually follows out of your target market, who you're trying to get in, and what actions you want them to take. In this case, you'll notice that all of the branding, messaging, and calls to action are to get them in tonight. And so the next and this actually may be even more important than your homepage design, is actually your menu structure. And why this is what our internal data has found, and we've proven this over and over again to be very accurate. That is, if your menu structure is simple and clean, just like this, giving folks the exact things they're looking for in the order they're looking for them, you will get more guests to the park. So the number one thing after finding you that they want to know are your rates. How much is it going to cost me to stay there? Number two are the amenities. Number three, they want to see the park. They want to tour it. Virtual tours are really good here, videos, pictures. And last, and certainly not least, is contact information and directions. So now we'll kind of dig into those pages a little bit and give you a look at how we've structured these pages on the site. So rates. If you remember, we have the rates on the home page. So this is actually a repeat of the home page. We've got their rates. A key feature here, and something I want to point out, is that this park does accept discount programs. I won't say which ones in case other folks are watching this, but they do offer discount programs. And that's an important feature to consider in that we don't have that on this rates page. Why? So you should ask why. Because a lot of folks will belong to different discount clubs and offer 10% off, 15% off, or whatnot. If I'm coming in an RV overnight and I found your site through your marketing channels and your price is reasonable and in line with your competitors' rates, I would come in and pay $30. The reason you're giving discounts for these various membership programs is the whole concept behind it is that those membership programs are driving in new guests, new people who might not have stayed there in the past. So, or they might not have found you at all. So you're basically rewarding them for coming in through those discount programs. So you're going to skew your numbers on measuring the results of your discount program if you advertise it right here that we take X, Y, and Z discount club. Because now if I have it, and I may have that discount club, and lots of other RVers do, they're going to come in and they're going to want that discounted rate instead of your full rate. So that's a key point I want to make here is that we don't advertise the discount rates here, because if you have the discount rates, you should be finding it through those discount programs, marketing channels, and then coming into the website and they contact. Now that doesn't mean if they show up and they say they have a discount club, you're not going to honor it. You're just not going to advertise it on the rates page. So again, we have the same rates as on the home page. They have a call to action for monthly rates with the fact that they have an application process and so forth. We have their cancellation policy, refund policy, reservation, and then a park site map. So then the next number two, well, I guess it'd be number three after your home rates and amenity, or homes and rates, is your amenities page. Amenities, again, we have a very pretty picture of the sites, nice mode. You can see the fire ring, picnic table, and the hookups are very clearly on the left-hand side. This is, depending on your park, your rates can be very long, or you're going to have to get creative here. Now, in this park, their clear value is their location, right next to the interstate. But they're also right between two very popular recreation lakes. And part of their longer-term goal is not just to get the overnight rate stays, but also get people to stay 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And in order to do that, we're advertising what's around here. And so we've tied that in with amenities. There's a paved bike path right off this park, so really cool. And then we put a call to the area attractions. And you'll notice the area attractions also pops up under this menu structure up here at the top. And this is a strategic move to build up that longer term stay to say, hey, you might be staying just overnight, but next time, look at all the stuff we have in the local area for you to go explore and discover. And so that's a strategic move to throw that area attractions under there, give people ideas on things they can do. The next thing is to see the park page. In this case, we've got a whole bunch of photos of the campground. We've got them in a tiled gallery, so folks can very clearly see some nice photos. Nice photos are key. The owner of this park has an eye for photography and did a really good job taking these pictures. If you don't have an eye for photography, you need to hire somebody who's professional at this. It's only a few $100, anywhere from $400 to $800, depending upon who you're hiring and where you're located at. But it's well worth the investment. Good pictures sell your park. And so in this case, it's a tile gallery, whereas if you clicked on any one of the images, you get up into the gallery and you can navigate through it. and very clearly see the pictures of the park. And so they did some extra effort. They cleaned up the park, mowed the grass, made sure the flowers looked good, and really showed off their good side of the park. So good imagery shows the entire park. That way, when the campers come into the park, it looks exactly as they expect it to be. This is a key point to make about all of your imagery of your campground, is make sure it looks as it does. The last thing you want to show is a really beautiful, amazing photo of your park. And the only way the user, the guest, can actually see that is if they stand in one spot, look through a flower, and, oh, yeah, I see where that picture was taken. You want your photos to look exactly like your park. This is a long-term strategy that impacts your reviews, your ratings, and your bottom line. If you're showing people one view of your park and they show up and find something totally different, they're immediately going to have a disconnect. They're going to not trust you anymore. And when they have the opportunity to go and review you, they'll point that out. Last but not least is the contact and directions page. And this is vital for people who are going to come stay at your park. So in this case, we've got the contact information on the right-hand side of every page with the rates, with the address, and we repeat that again down here with a map. In this case, we put very clear directions. Again, this is going to the audience. We know that a lot of these guests will be driving down the interstate looking for a spot for tonight, and we want to give them a clear path to get to us. So we give them very specific directions and even note where they're at. An interesting little issue here. So you'll notice the road is actually called Vulcan Road. But if you go to Google Maps, notice that it's Lodge Road, and the signage is still off. This road the name has been changed, but it has not yet updated on maps. So that's where the directions become really important. The owners also now put signs out on the road to make it very easy for folks to find them. So in a nutshell, if you're designing a campground or RV park website, these are the features you would want to have to make sure that, number one, you get found, and number two, you're providing the information campers would like. So at that point, I'll open it up to questions and take a few, and we'll see what you throw at me. Okay, yeah, we'll start with that question. So SEO, search engine optimization. So, if I hover over this up here, you'll see that there's a title tag up there. It says Tween the Lakes Campground, RV Park, Grand Rivers, Kentucky, and Kentucky Lake. That's called meta tags. I'm going to, again, do a right click on you and show you the page source. So this may scare you a little bit. If it does, I apologize. This is the code behind the website. And the title of the website right here, that's your actually most important keyword on the page. That tells the search engine what the page is about. So you notice that this one is just a Tween the Lakes Campground. But if I click over to the rates page, you'll notice that this title tag, the page title, changes. And it changes to rates, and then so forth, amenities, and on and on and on. So that way, and then that title tag ties into the page title, which ties into the content, which is different across these pages. And so that's very important. Something to think about is this title, this meta tag, this what your page is about, should never be home. Home is not what it is. Home is simply a designation for a web page. What your home page is it's the name of your park or the key location. So you'll notice that a lot of KOA locations, they're named, and there's not one this way, but they're named Los Angeles KOA. And that's done on purpose. The reason they do that is that way, when you search for RV Park Los Angeles, they're likely to come up at the top of the results. So if you're in a major city, if you're in a major destination, your ideal, and this goes even broader than your website, your ideal branding will include the keywords that people look for. So if you're an RV park and you're within Rocky Mountain National Park or right next to it, naming your RV park Rocky Mountain National Park RV Park, well, you can't use the national park. I guess you could. Rocky Mountain National Park RV Park. Now, I don't think you can use the national park for legal reasons, but I hope you're getting the point. Like, you'd want your main keywords, so Rocky Mountain RV Park, to be in the business name. That's in the title tag. That helps you in search results. What we've got here is the secondary, which is Kentucky Lake. So if somebody searches Kentucky Lake RV Park, eventually this website's actually going to come up for those results. And so we've got the keywords in it. And again, we've got the keyword here with RV Park. Notice we're repeating these keywords throughout, polling through, and we'll have RV park written throughout here, and RV park down here, and RV, we've got a bunch of references to RV park. So the use of keywords is very important. You need to understand what people look for. They look for destination and then RV park or campground. Campground's actually the more search word than RV park, but that's a general idea on keywords. I hope that's provided some guidance. Okay, so let's hop back over. A question is on tracking and how do we know something's working? And actually, I'll take that and say that it's broader. Tracking. So we've installed Google Analytics on this website. The Google Analytics are free. You can pick them up right over here. You go to Google, just Google Analytics. And Google Analytics, you'll log in with a Google account, boom, 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 and access the data. I'm not going to log in right here, but that's how you get a Google Analytics account. Information. It's a piece of code that you install or your web designer installs on the site, and it tracks every visitor as long as the page loads. So if a user goes bam, 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 you're not going to measure any of that until the page loads. So you wouldn't have measured the rates, amenities, see the park. You'll only measure the contact us because the page loaded. But the analytics will provide you guidance on those. And okay, so we'll do two more questions. So last question here is, or second to last question is, how do I know? That's a good question. So how do I know it's working? How do I know my website is actually working? Very clearly, you'll see your phone ring, or you'll answer your phone. You won't see it ring. I hope you're not watching it ring. Answer the phone. But your phone will ring, and people start coming in. So we've implemented websites, and obviously we do a lot more than just the website design. There's a lot more that goes into this, and I think that's been implied here. But the way you'll know a website is working or it's not is by your volume of business. So one of the things that we've come in and we've done this for various clients, this will be another good example, is we've redone their websites utilizing these principles and a bunch of other marketing techniques tied into it. And they've measured 244% increases in online reservations. So now think about that. If you take online reservations, if you allow people to book online and they're still calling it to book over the phone, you're doing something wrong. And the ideal situation for an online reservation is they find you, they clearly see the park, they know what it looks like, they know what the sites look like, they don't need any more information from you. These photographs, or if you have 360 video tours, whatnot, allow them to physically see what they're getting into. They don't have any more questions. They know they'll have a satellite view, they know the site's long enough, blah, blah, blah. They'll be able to then book online. What that means is you're not getting a phone call. And I know you get tons of phone calls. And if you can reduce your phone calls by even 10, 20, 30, 40%, that's going to be an awful, huge, not awful, that's going to be an amazingly huge improvement. Awful is a bad word. It's amazingly huge improvement in your business, in your life. I mean, if you're not answering the phone all the time, and yet people are still coming in there, win-win. So that'll be how you'll know things are working, when you start seeing your volumes pick up. In this case, we're highlighting the phone numbers because we don't have online reservations yet. But once we get online reservations, we'll try to route people through that path. So that would be that one. And let's do the last question. Domain name is a really good question. So this is the domain name. In this case, they purchased the park, and it came with the domain name. And I think smartly they kept the brand that they're going with this brand name. Your domain name is important, much like the keywords here. They could be, if they're Tween the Lakes Campground and they wanted to advertise that they were, and they're not, but say they wanted to be Paducah RV Park. You could use a domain name Paducah RV Park, and they call this Paducah RV Park and it's Tween the Lakes, and utilize keywords. So your domain name is important. The other thing you want to consider is how easy is it to spell and say. And so, like in our case, Campground Views. It's actually, this is an example of doing it wrong. So Campground Views. So if I called you up and say, hey, this is Mark from Campground Views, one of the first questions I always get is that Campground News? What was it? Because it sounds news, views, kind of rolls off the tongue the same way. And so I would recommend testing your domain name in that manner to where people, when they hear it, they can phonetically spell it and you don't have yourself spelling it out. So actually our brand's a really good example of whoops, it's
campground views. Again, there's other reasons we do that. Campground is a more search keyword than RV park, and views is very descriptive of what we do. So once people know it, they remember it. And so your domain name is very important. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. I don't want to go too long because I know you're all busy, but I hope you found this informative. This has been recorded. We'll post this up on YouTube, and you should be able to find it and reference it back. I appreciate your time. If you want to discover more of these, if you want us to do a topic, reach out to us. Talk to you soon. I'm Mark Kepp at campgroundviews.com. Thanks, and goodbye.